And to that, I say, welcome everybody to the May 2nd, 2023 Edmondson Heights Civic Association Community Meeting. This is our last one until September. Just wanted to remind you all because the kids get a break and I think I should get one too. So with that being said, I know it's going to take a minute for other people to kind of trickle in a little bit. And I don't have a method to my agenda tonight. So I got some interesting things, I will say. And I will start with, let me see. I will start with, Phyllis, is that you? Okay. No, that's Bonnie. Okay. So, dog is gonna start barking because the grass is getting cut. It's all right, babe. So we had a board meeting. The board members had a board meeting this last week. Couldn't tell you, but it was last week. Want to remind everybody, and I guess I'll remind you again before it's over, that our dumpster day is this Saturday, from I don't know 7 to 11 o'clock, or until the dumpsters are full. That knocked that out of the way. We will have a shredding event coming up in September. It is a go. So I would like to see if we can possibly even get the next dumpster date on that same date, but I'll let you guys know the date close to, well, when we all come back in September. I have had, it's been a very interesting month. One of the things that the board talked about is there's a grant for Baltimore County funding, and we are going to try to work on getting a grant for just kind of a couple of things in the neighborhood to go with the other things that we have going on. But we are interested in, I think they're called wildlife cameras, just to see a little bit of what's going on around here. We've got some complaints about a couple of things, so we'll probably just kind of maneuver them around the neighborhood. But we'll put a pin in that when we come closer to getting that done. When we come closer to making decisions on that, I'll let everybody know. I feel so much pressure with all these important people. So, another thing, because I have to hand this over to a couple of people in a minute. We were talking about the triangle, what we refer to as the triangle, because they refer to it and I didn't know what they were talking about. Thank you, Delegate Ruth. I didn't know what they were talking about, but the triangle is the part of Edmondson Heights where Forest Park V's off onto Newfield. And you can either take Newfield on the right and go on down to Ingleside, or you can take Newfield on the left and go to Route 40. We've got issues with the trees there, and apparently the county property management said that it is not their problem. They didn't plant the trees, so they are not going to see about them, what have you. Last year, we did have them trimmed. A couple guys came out. They even offered to trim them because it's very hard to see. We are considering, after I talk to some other people, having them removed. It's blocking. I don't go that way. It's blocking the view, and I think it's a danger. It's a safety hazard. But if there's a different alternative to that, I will see. I'm gonna pause y'all because I think my dog's got to pee. Hold on. But I think he was just kidding. I'm sorry. I got enough people peeing in the house. don't anyway. But, so we're gonna try to figure out what to do about those giant trees there. And one of the things we discussed um was having something replace them, or because it's a nice spot to introduce to introduce visitors into the neighborhood. So I'm not really sure. It's not my go-to thing. And as well, some of you may know, I work for an environmental agency, so cutting down trees is a no-no. So we just have to see what to do. And I welcome the feedback on that. Um, and I'll actually even talk to some of my environmentalist people to see what to do. It's huge. Well, actually, there's several, and they're huge, and they're branching out, and they're making other trees, which we want trees, but Phyllis, if you have a an idea, I would welcome hearing that. I'll introduce you in a sec. That is that. There is dumpster day. There's trees in the triangle. If anybody wants to save the trees, anybody has a better idea, let me know. But we're not just gonna go and willy-nilly just cut the trees. We're gonna actually try to do whatever is right. At dumpster day this weekend, we will start collecting the signatures for the petitions for the traffic calmers. That's when I'm out. So when you guys are out and I see you, I think we've got a couple that we want signed. We have been told that because there's a school so close that we may qualify, that we do qualify for some sort of traffic calmers. So not sure what that was. It hasn't been told to me. I know that I'm hoping, Delegate Ruth, I can throw this one to you, that there's been a vote on not traffic calming, but cameras in residential neighborhoods for speeding. And there's a lot of people who think that the BGE purple lights in the neighborhood are cameras, but they are not. They are just ugly for the sake of being ugly. And I'm also working on that. We've got a couple of them that have been changed out. And that's right, Ryan. We have a couple that have been changed out. I'm working on the rest. When you see them, let me know and I can report them. It's been good so far. That is that. Okay. Delegate Ruth, how did that go with, I saw the votes on whether Baltimore County could have or should have speed cameras in residential neighborhoods.
Well, thank you for the question. And we in the Baltimore County House delegation, we voted on that, and we were pretty divided on it, and it did lose, I think, by one vote. I think it's really, mixed. People certainly want to stop the speeding, but I think there are also concerns about overuse of cameras as generating revenue, and about concerns about disparities in placement and things like that. So I guess I think it's an issue we'll have to revisit, but it did not pass this year.
Yeah, I did notice, and I did notice the one out, and so yeah, so hopefully there has to be something. There has to be something, and we are going to just do our part and start with, it'll probably take me forever to get all the signatures in the neighborhood, because I come in the house, I stay in the house, I go to work in the morning. So it's just gonna take all of us to get this done, and I'm not gonna be. It's just gonna take a lot of energy. It's gonna take a lot of us to do it together to figure out what we can do, besides just asking people to stop speeding, stop running stop signs, stop, I don't know, say pretty please or something. I think so. Maybe a good pretty please will do. Also, I spoke about the grants. I had a meeting, or I've been attending meetings. One, I told you guys I joined the PTA. I'm gonna get me a kid one day. I'm here to tell you it'll look better. But I joined the PTA because I wanted our community. I've always wanted our community to work closer with the school. The school is a very influential part of our community, and we know that my thing is property values. And if we have a better school, if our school gets better and the kids are happy and everything is good, then our property values are likely to increase. Um, so I strongly encourage any of you to join the PTA. You don't have to go, and I relay information. Right now, they're looking for people to volunteer for things, and I kind of ducked out on that one because I'm volunteered up. And they also have a monthly meeting of stakeholders, which is very interesting. And it is where members of the school, Edmondson High School, the community, the kids, which is the most interesting part, and parents, where we all come together and we listen to the kids to see what they think about the community, what they need, what they would like, what their fear. It's just there's just this huge thing that I don't think once a month is enough time to get things done. I think it has the potential of being a really good thing for the kids. And one of the things I'm going to say that the kids asked, the same thing that we all ask, is that you guys pick up after your dogs. Um, pick up after your dogs. Somebody is off mute. Okay. And another thing is, I think we spoke a meeting or two before about someone just kind of going in and just demolishing the playground equipment. I got in touch with Miss Margaret Stokes, and I put her together with the school, and they're gonna work on getting that taken care of. That was a very horrible thing. Um, but that was a very horrible thing. And I wanted to see if there was anything that we can do. And luckily, what we could do was ask them to talk to Margaret, and they're going to get that taken care of. I noticed a couple of days ago that the baseball diamond, the one closest to Ingleside, is having some work done to it. And I think that's great. And I understand that I think it's a Woodlawn baseball, a kids baseball team, which I thought was really adorable. And I hope those of you with kids knew about it. Because I didn't know about it, but I have no kids also. If there's any way that we can support that, I would like for us to do so. I would like, if they are having games at the park here, I'd like for us to support it. I think anything to help the kids know that they are cared about will help them to care also. There's the school recently, I think it was last weekend, the weekend before, had a cleanup, and I think that should be done more often, because I've noticed before that there's like plastic bottles and everything everywhere, and I would hope to get people together so that we can all help with that. I've got my little thing, my stick where it picks up stuff. And I've gone through the neighborhood when I'm walking the dog and just kind of picked up things every now and then. Not other dog poop, but dog poop and other things. Another thing that the kids are interested in, they need things to do. And I don't see where we don't have an immediate area where there can be, or immediate, where it can immediately be done, where they can have a rec center. And if we just talk about Edmondson Heights kids specifically, there's almost nothing. Or there's very little, or something I haven't seen, or something my kids I just can't actually get. And one of the things I'm all out sync here, but that is okay. That I wanted to ask about, and I spoke with the board about, this I should write that too. I spoke with the board about was possibly hosting during the summer, possibly hosting game nights, like family game nights though. Because I don't do kids for real. Um, family game nights. We have, I don't know, well, I'm sure none of you know, for one of our, a couple of years ago, we bought these giant games for a national night out. And they're just sitting here in my house collecting dust with the other dust. And I thought it would be, and I always thought it would be a good idea if someone's having a party and they could borrow them, or if we could do something where it's just where they can be used. So if anybody has any ideas, if anybody wants to participate, I only had the only idea that I have is that kids should be accompanied by a parent. And after we're done, we should clean up after ourselves and uh, do a good enough job so that we'll want to do it again and look forward to it. I did not take into account mosquitoes. I don't do mosquitoes either. So there's a lot. There's a lot of variables going on there, but overall, I think it would be a good idea. If anybody has any ideas, I want to hear them. And you can always get back to me with that. I have good ideas. I just need to, as Quinn Stevens said, need to implement them. So first, I'm gonna ask our Senator Sidnor and Delegate Ruth if you have anything, or you just visiting and we're Tuesday night TV for you guys. Hi, Senator Sidnor.
Hey, good evening. No, you're not Tuesday night TV.
Good TV anyway.
But with the session close, me and Evan ended a few weeks back. We both wanted to make it a point just to hop on tonight and me to visit as we were getting out to different communities and things. We I think had a pretty successful 90-day session. I know our team did pretty well in bringing back some money for some capital projects throughout the district. For those of you who subscribe to my email distribution list, you would have received an email with all of that information a few weeks back. And I know Dahlia Ruth always does a real good job of putting information out weekly. So I won't bore any of you with all of that stuff. But what I will say is we had I had what was it? 7 bills that passed the General Assembly. A number of them they've already been signed into law. One dealing with the creation of a regional water task force that was done by both Baltimore City and Baltimore County joint efforts. And about 3 bills passed to make some modifications to the ground rent redemption process. A lot of people think of Baltimore City as having a lot of ground rents, but there are certainly homes within our district and in our county that have ground rents. So there were 3 bills that we passed to address that. I had another bill which was going to update some terminology that we use for people who are incarcerated. So instead of calling them inmates, we call them incarcerated individuals, which is something that they did in New York and was a piece of legislation or an idea that was brought to me by the former Secretary of the Department of Public Safety and Corrections. So that bill passed with some ease. And had another bill that extended the life of the Maryland Lynching Commission. It was set to expire in this upcoming year, so I think we passed legislation to increase it, have it extend for another 2 years. There are also some other bills that were able to get out of the Senate but didn't get out of the House. One that I like, but it gained a lot of opposition. Dealt with speed cameras in school zones. For those of you who may travel to Baltimore City, I had some issues with the way that they spotted their cameras. So the legislation that I had introduced and it passed the Senate modified the way school zones could cite their cameras. The state highways, they have a policy that says if you're going to cite school cameras, I guess on their roads, they like to have the cameras within 500 feet of the schools, and if it goes beyond 500 feet, there would have to be a traffic study. I took that policy and attempted to have it put into law because for those of you who may travel, like I said, travel to Baltimore City, if you go down Baltimore National Pike, past Hilton Park, Hilton Street, you'll notice that there are like 2 cameras that are sitting there, but no schools nearby. And my point is, if you're going to have school zone cameras, they need to be near schools. If you want residential cameras, then you pass legislation like some other counties did, so you can have residential cameras. But like I said, that legislation didn't pass. And one other bill that died right before the end of session, which was to modify or to regulate the use of facial recognition. Unfortunately, that bill, like I said, if I would have had maybe 10 or 15 more minutes, we may have been able to get it out, but that happens. Those kind of things happen on the last day of session. So that did not pass. But like I said, if you were to go to my website, and I'll put it in the chat, my end of session letter is there, and it talks about a number of these bills a little bit more in depth, and it lists some of the projects that we got the money for, including our the Woodlawn Volunteer Fire Department to help them get new signage, Woodlawn High School to get some new lighting, and a few other projects. So with that, if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to take them.
Senator, did you want to mention the Development Authority money?
Oh my Lord. I'll forget about that. Yes, so thank you. See teamwork. We, as you all remember, I think last year we had legislation that sponsored to create or enable Baltimore County to create a redevelopment authority for our side of town. And if you remember the boundaries to the northward, Liberty Road to the west, it was Roland Road to the south, Baltimore National Pike, and to the east, it is the Baltimore City, Baltimore County line. So we were able to get $1 million, $750,000 for operating costs and $250,000 for capital costs to help to use as startup money for this redevelopment authority. So really excited about that. I believe the county executive put another $250,000 in this year's budget. So now it's more of a thing of just having it getting the county to put forth this legislation and begin to have it organized. One other thing that I failed to mention, but it was in my newsletter, and since is I know there's going to be some work done on the Eisenhower Bridge, which is right near you all. That's the bridge that goes over Ingleside from I-70. So I believe that work, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it may be starting at some point this summer. If you were to go to State Highways, they have a website that talks about the various state highway projects, and there's additional information online about that that particular project. So just just as an FYI, but that's all that I have. But thank you, Delegate and Ms. Powell.
I will thank you first. And I will tell you that a couple of weeks ago, I had a meeting professionally with the head of MDOT. And I mentioned the project that I have the I-70 695 project. And I mentioned it, yeah, that was what I mentioned. I mentioned that we really have no idea what, and I think they may have talked over our heads, or they talked in circles, or there was just something that didn't sit very well with me with that. And I got to speak with them about it, and may have, well, not volunteered, but hopefully it will lead to an opportunity for me to kind of disseminate information to our communities about things that are going on, that they have going on in our neighborhoods. So it would be work for me, but I would get paid for it. So that'll be a thing too. But I mentioned it, and the acting director is a former coworker of mine. So, and we're working on trying to work together to do some environmental justice in the neighborhoods. Found out that this neighborhood, in particular, we're on the Maryland Department of Environment map for the being in need of environmental sustainability, environmental justice sustainability. So that's some stuff. If you see my name come by or something, it's not a joke. It might be for real. But that way, I'm always just looking for ways in what I do professionally to be of service, more of service to my overall neighborhood. And it gets very confusing sometimes. So I am going to, Phyllis, I need you to be ready. Okay, I need you to be ready, because I'm going to say that Delegate Ruth introduced me to, and therefore introduced us to, an organization called Neighborspace. And I've spoken on end about Neighborspace and them kind of helping with our park. And again, people don't know where the park is and that there is a park. I was amongst those people. But we have met, we have ate and come up with just some, they've decided to invest in our park, to use grant funding to help us out with our park. We spoke with Baltimore Parks and Recs, and they went, if you give us money, that's fine. So it looks like things are go, and it'll be a really good thing for us. And Phyllis has had the opportunity to take a look at the park. Having all of us get together to take a look at the park has been a little bit tasking, but Phyllis has taken a look, and I will say that Parks and Rec have come out regularly, and they've mowed inside of there, and they're pushing some of the greenery back, and I see some of the vines coming down. So it's starting to look good. But what we would like to do is on the inside of the park, because there's some things on the outside of the park that people are wanting to discuss too. But we want to use this. It's a huge space. It's about the size of an entire block. There's a huge space, and we want to use it for our benefit and just for the benefit of the environment as a whole. So I'm gonna introduce you guys to Phyllis. It's Joris, right? Or yours?
It is. Joris, whatever.
Joris.
That's like cool.
Don't treat your husband like that.
Oh, it's my maiden name, so I get to decide. Yeah, thanks for the introduction. So my name is Phyllis Joris. I'm the executive director of Neighborspace of Baltimore County. I won't go into too much detail there. We're a land trust, which means we conserve land for environmental reasons, but also we're a little bit different from most land trusts that we work. We work in Baltimore County, but only in the older urban neighborhoods like yours and mine. And we work with communities to preserve green space and then turn it into a space that they can use. So each of our sites, we've got 21 around the county, 19 of those are public, and they all look a little different. Some are your classic park with a playground, picnic tables, that kind of thing. And then others are teeny tiny and have, just a little rain garden or a pollinator meadow. They're all a little different. So, Jaquista, before I give more detail, I think that every purple light bulb that gets unscrewed in your neighborhood is screwed into a lamp on my street. It's like purple all the way now. I'm not sure what's
Yes,
going
I
on with that.
report them.
I didn't realize you could even call to have that switched out. I
There's a
thought it was,
web page. There's a
Oh,
web
really?
page. Yeah, I'll
Oh,
get
that's so fun.
that to you.
Yeah, I learned from you tonight. Yeah, so I'm actually tonight here. I'm representing Neighbor Space, but I'm here as a member of Be Green, and Be Green is a coalition. We're a group of environmental organizations that work in the Baltimore City, Baltimore County area. And we came together specifically to green our Baltimore area communities, but with that, help our communities build capacity so that they can continue to green their own neighborhoods, maintain those spaces, and come up with their own, help each neighborhood come up with their own plan and then help implement that. So Shaquista, I did want to I missed the first part of your explanation about this grant. Depending on what that's for, grant writing, we can help with that. If that would, help you out, just throwing that out there. Bonnie is also here. Bonnie, do you want to wave?
Hi, Bonnie. I see her.
Bonnie, do you want to introduce yourself really quick?
Hello, I'm Bonnie Sorak. I'm with Interfaith Partners for the Chesapeake. And as Phyllis just explained, our organization is also a part of the Be Green Collaborative. And so Interfaith Partners for the Chesapeake works with communities of faith to help them understand the problem of polluted stormwater runoff and help them to take action. So in a nutshell, we explain to congregations to do unto those downstream as you would have those upstream do unto you. That's a quote from Wendell Berry. So, so we have congregations both upstream and downstream from your neighborhood. So we're trying to work with as many congregations as possible. So we'd love to connect if you know folks that are members of congregations in the neighborhood, in and around the neighborhood, would love to connect with them, because ultimately, I've been listening and I know about the park and some of the other greening efforts that you want to do. They're all great, but they're all going to need maintenance. So generally that becomes volunteer maintenance. So churches are a good way to connect and try to get some support from the faith community to support those locations. And also great for meeting space and things like that. So if anyone knows of congregations that might want to engage, if they're having flooding issues on their property, if water's getting in their basement, those are the kind of calls that I get a lot of. So our congregations do parking lot retrofits and tree plantings and cisterns and rain gardens and just pollinator gardens. So we work with them to try to find the right project for their congregations. We also do advocacy and things like that. So happy to be here, and please feel free to reach out to me and connect with me, and we'll try to get working with some of the faith community in and around your surrounding area.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I did tell Reverend Bailey that you asked about him. He should be Reverend Al Bailey. He should
I talked to him today.
Really?
Yes. So he's all on board. We're going to do a site assessment at New Psalmist. Looks like May 12th. So very excited to have finally gotten that. He just got back from Africa. So I was thrilled to get to talk.
Yes, he did.
Yes.
He did. So I was like, he's back? Okay.
Yep, he's back. He's back and raring to go. So that's great.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Sharon, you're on mute.
Hello, I'm Sharon Davis. I'm on the Board of Governors for Edmondson Heights Community. I also am a homeowner on Granville, so I live directly across from our park/watershed. And Jaquista has been sharing with all of us the great ideas you all have to help redevelop some of the areas in the park and make it more usable, particularly for the children at the school. And all of that sounds really great. Our concern as neighbors are we want to have some of the redevelopment done, but because it's not a traditional park, we don't want overdevelopment. We already have problems with vagrants and people doing things they shouldn't do down in the park or bordering the park, so we don't want it to become an opportunity for people to spend a great deal of time there, especially after hours, after dusk, that kind of thing. So I'm really interested in hearing about your ideas and for the kids to come over and do things down in the interior of the park. I'm just hoping that we'll reiterate to the children and their families that they shouldn't be coming alone when they're not with a teacher or anything, because we do have tendency during storms to have overflooding down in that stream area. And I just want the kids to understand about safety in that area. We do have a lot of
That would be on
saturated
the,
areas down in the interior. And I think it's a great idea, but I just want everybody who's going to be invited in to be educated about safety issues. And also, I speak for our neighbors when I say we don't want it overdeveloped. We have enough of a problem with people using it for alternative purposes as it is. But again, we welcome you all, and the few of us who are available, we do want to be a part of whatever you guys decide to do there. Thank you.
we do have people who are volunteering to help, which makes me very proud. It makes me very proud. And people who are stepping up and saying that they care about what we're doing here. And we want the space is, as Phyllis, you've seen, is grand. It is grand. And I've gone down several times and just kind of walked it, and it's a good space. And there's a lot that we want to be able to use it for, but for the most part, if we haven't been using it in all of this time, I think pollinators and rain gardens and all of those things would be great. It helps the environment.
So Ms. Sharon, thank you for sharing that. And I will say your concern, both concerns are concerns that I hear a lot.
Okay.
So that's definitely on our radar. And then we haven't, I'm sure we have plenty of ideas inside, in Be Green, but we don't have any plans. We're not going to put anything for. The way it would work is that that community, that it's your ideas, your thoughts drive anything that were to happen. So, and the next step, that's also why I'm here tonight. And Jaquista, I have to say you have a great turnout. I don't know about Bonnie, but I attend a lot of community meetings, and sometimes it's just like 3 of us. And that would include
not the norm, but I'm very proud.
Yeah, but I'm very excited to see so many people here, like Ms. Sharon speaking up, and so that's great. That's good. Yeah, so I think that next steps would be to maybe have another meeting specifically for greening of the neighborhood, or if it's easier, I don't know when your dumpster day is, maybe we can tie into an event that you already have on the calendar.
It's this Saturday.
Ooh, okay, that might
there'll be I can tie you into other events also.
All right, good. Yeah, this Saturday I can't swing that because I have our own event, but so everything would be but that is a part of this mission of Be Green. It's that it's really community driven, also because we want to build capacity within each community so that it's sustainable, so that when we don't want to put in a rain garden and pollinator meadow and wish you all luck and walk away. Like that's not the plan. We want it set up so that you'll have our contact, but so that it's something that you all can maintain and use the way that you want to. So it would be, it's going to be a bit longer process probably, because there will be multiple meetings and requests for feedback and input. But the hope is that we can then come up with something that neighbors are genuinely excited about and will make use of.
Yeah.
I was also reminded by one of the other members of the group not to restrict ourselves to the park. So we are open to, you know, if you want to cast a wider net, Jaquista, I don't. I know I was a community volunteer for years, so you got to be careful with how wide you cast that net.
Yes.
But I promised him that I would put it out there. You know, if there's something at the school that you want to do, or just like, you know, street tree planting. You did mention those trees that you might need to have taken down. That's something that we could also look at. And
Okay.
if they do need to come down, maybe we can, you know, plant trees elsewhere to make, you know, I don't know what trees you're talking about, but so just, you know, it doesn't have to be, you know, the park has a lot of potential, and it is a very large, could be beautiful space.
Yeah.
So if you want to look beyond the park, we can definitely discuss that.
I was just going to mention, Phyllis, I don't know, because taking down trees is expensive, but there is the CBT $5,000 urban trees mini grant that's available right now. So if
You said
Sure.
that really fast.
So there's a mini grant, they call it. I think it was actually 10,000 when could the cap be 10,000, I think? Because
I'll look it up.
But that's for planting trees, and trees aren't, you know, crazy
No,
expensive.
they will pay for taking down and grinding the
well?
stubs. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
Good to
Yep.
know.
Yep.
Will they give us our mulch back?
You can have the mulch left there if you want. Actually, that'll save you some money, because the tree guys, they charge you to haul it away and dispose of it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll look it up and put it in the chat.
Sure. Thank you.
So, yeah, so Jaquista, was there anything else we need to share?
Not really. Not really, since it's open to opening the boundaries on the community. There were a couple of things that when I'll stop by Lowe's every now and then and go, I think we could have, it'll be birdie, but but no, I think we can get together and discuss what the ideas are, and we can have, if virtually is better, where the community can specifically come to a meeting and say what they'd be interested in. I think I have an idea, but yeah, it's the same thing I've been just kind of advocating for. We'd like for the county's office, I'm gonna say county executive Oshesky's office should have done, the last time I spoke a couple of weeks ago, they were going to do just kind of a walkthrough and see what the county could do. And I think that includes because there's this area right there where people are just running the stop sign there. So it's a really dangerous area. But yeah, I've had the ideas of, let's find out what the native plants are. I brought up a fun idea to put an herbal garden in or near the park, just so that we could all be involved. Just there's a lot of things but it just started with ideas, and that's what kind of led me all around, and Delegate Ruth sent me to you.
And sorry to interrupt you, Quista, but what you just said, that is often how it starts, with like a visioning session where we'll come with like a bunch of pictures of other projects, other sites, or like, you know, what's a rain garden or what's and then that people just, sometimes it's really simple with like Post-it notes or colored dots. And people just sort of indicate like, I like this, not so interested in this, or I really want this. Another thing that we've done with other, and I say some of us in Be Green have done this with separate communities, is like almost draw up a master plan. It's like, oh, you know, in 50 years, and I think we might have discussed this, Jaquista, at the one meeting before Christmas that we did. Like, here's what we would like the neighborhood to look like in, you know,
Yes.
50 years, 20 years, and then
Yes.
that gives you kind of tackle one thing at a time, and we could help like apply for grants or prioritize. So there's a couple of ways to go about it, but it would probably start with a session like that, where hopefully we get a lot of neighbors and they tell us, you know, like Miss Sharon, who said, I do want this. I don't, I don't want benches maybe, but I do want lighting, or I do want, a picnic
Right.
table and garden beds, but not this. That's really
Right.
helpful.
I do know that Maryland Energy Administration has a program. They have a program where they want to install solar lighting in as many places as possible. And I mentioned seeing how we could have some installed, not just in our neighborhood, because I know that I'm also a part of the Association of Gwinnett, and that it could spread widely. I needed to know more about it before I could just tell it. But I do know that that's something that's going. They're taking applications for that. And we didn't necessarily want lighting in the park, but there is a need for some outside of the park. I have a big dog, and I said, no, we're not going to that block. We're just not going to do that. So it was just really dark, but there's a lot of ideas. I do know that there's a lot of different funds to pull from. Thank you, Bonnie. So yeah, but this is good.
Jaquita, I'd like to ask Phyllis a question if I could.
Sure.
I wanted to ask you, Phyllis, do you all have any arborists on staff that could come in and really advise us? We have a lot of poplar trees in the park, and they're all starting to fail. Recreation and Park has started to come in, and they've taken them down, but they have a new policy. When a tree is taken down, they just leave it where it falls until it rots. They're not taking them out. We were there cleaning last week, and the actual stream itself, we could not get down into clean because they had blocked it with a lot of the dead tree limbs that are deteriorating. So when you went over to view it, did an arborist go with you? I'd be interested in to know what they think about some of the challenges we have, soil erosion, that type of thing, and the upper portions of the park, and just preserving the initial use of it, which was a watershed for our entire community. That's very important for all of us who live near there.
So I do not have, so I'll answer your questions in two parts. That was
Okay.
my key takeaway too when I visited, that it's such a shame that you can't even see the water. For, and I could see like there used to be a fence that at some part, and there's a bunch of trees down. There's
Yes.
invasive. So that I agree with you. It's what a beautiful spot, and you can't see or access, and you can't access the water either. So, because I know I've got young kids, they would want to be down in the water, and if you can't get there safely, then then there's no use.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with you there. I do not have an arborist on staff.
Okay.
We do have access to arborists.
Okay.
So that we would be able to find an arborist who could come out and have a look and tell us what he thinks needs to be done. There is also, you can also have the Baltimore County arborist and the a Maryland forester come out and kind of do that same thing for free.
Okay.
So those are a few options. Someone with more knowledge than myself. And then for the erosion as well, we could probably tap into either someone with the extension service or one of the other bee greeners might have a contact that they use for that kind of thing. So yeah, those are definitely things we can do.
Thank you.
Also contacts at the soil conservation people.
Yeah.
I'm writing it down.
Yeah, so there's federal, state, and county people here who can help you out. Often I feel like it kind of boils down to if someone has a relationship with one of those people. That's sometimes the easiest, the quickest way to get someone out. So I'm sure within this group, Bonnie, I think there's 5 of us, right? 5 organizations. Only Bonnie and I are the only 2 that could make it tonight, but between the 5 organizations, we could definitely get those assessments taken care of.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Phyllis. Thank you, Bonnie. Yeah, we should, my calendar is flexible. It doesn't feel like it, but it can be flexible. And this week I'm working from home.
So then because I might report back to the group and then report back to you, but I think what we should try to get on the calendar is like a use that, that visioning session idea.
Yeah.
That neighbors can come in and tell us, look, what these, this is what I would like to see.
Yeah.
That might take a little bit of prep on our end, but you would probably need some time to get a date on the calendar too. So maybe we should start with that.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Getting the more people you have, the harder it is to
Right.
get a calendar.
Yeah, that's why it's curious. Like sometimes if you have something, if you have I know this is your last one before the summer, but like if there's another event or community meeting, sometimes we can tie into that. And it is, summer is coming, so people will probably scatter. So maybe we should probably try to get it in before the end of the school year, which is June 13. And that way maybe, we could spread the word through the PTA too, Jaquissa, which by the way, thank you, because I was PTA president for years, and thank you always. Each and every member is much appreciated. So that might be good if we can get the word out before then.
Okay.
To get some of the young families involved too.
Okay. That'll be good. I think it's doable. So I definitely would like to speak with them about how we could possibly use the park and, yeah, I'm definitely, I've don't know if I told you, but there's a Baltimore County Public Schools they're currently working on incorporating elements of the environment into the science program. We have it's a pilot program where the students will use their local parks. And Department of Natural Resources they're making sure that we get the funding. And overall, what they would like is for people of color to know that they're welcome in state parks. So let's get to know the parks in your neighborhood. Let's do, so with this park, it's in walking distance of the school. Mm-hmm. And they will be working and doing classes in this park. So for the most part, I want to make sure it's safe for them, that it's usable for them, and want to get the parents in on it also.
Right. Yeah. You have a beautiful neighborhood. And I was thinking just, if I lived here, my kids would have loved this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if it was, if they're a little bit older now, and if it were safe, then I would be comfortable with them playing there and,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So we'll tackle the safety part.
I think that's great. Let me check back with, the other, there's 5 of us, I think, and then I'll get back to you and then we can hopefully get something set up.
Okay. Thank you, Phyllis.
Thank you, Jaquissa.
And thank you, Bonnie. I want to swing this back to Delegate Ruth. You have something for us?
Thank you so much. I'll be quick. I know time is almost out, but it was a great 90-day session under the leadership of our new governor, of course, Governor Moore. We had a great partnership. We got a lot done. We did some big things, protecting reproductive rights, and next year on the ballot, you'll be able to vote on the ballot on putting reproductive rights, basically codifying Roe v. Wade in the Maryland Constitution. We also passed bills to protect people from guns, to limit because the Supreme Court issued a ruling last year, which invalidated our law, which protected people from, limited who could have concealed carry permits. So we had to pass new laws to really limit who can conceal carry and where they can conceal carry guns, to try to protect people from that. We raised the minimum wage to $15 an hour starting January 1st. So those are just a few of the big things that we did. Also, the Clean Transportation and Energy Act, which expands EV charging equipment rebates. So if you are installing EV chargers, there are rebates for that. And it also helps to move forward with electric, medium, and heavy duty zero emission vehicles to help the environment. I had one bill that passed both the House and the Senate. It's now waiting on the governor to sign that. And this is my cat Pride, by the way. When I'm on Zoom, he thinks it's his time.
Oh, you
So
haven't seen the dog jump up every now and then.
my bill that passed is waiting on the governor's signature is the transportation transit equity bill to really ensure that all communities have the fair benefits of transportation, of good transit, including access to jobs, economic development, and clean air. And this is a bill that was actually vetoed by Governor Hogan last year, so it passed again. And I think we don't expect a veto this year. I think that Governor Moore is going to sign it. I did have another bill, Jaquista, you'll like this one, that passed the House. Unfortunately, it died in the Senate, but I'm definitely going to bring it back. And the goal of the bill was to require the State Highway Administration to develop procedures for having pollinator meadows along the sides of highways.
I love it.
Yeah, because we need to protect the pollinators because, not only are they beautiful and amazing creatures themselves, but they're essential for our health as well, because something like 3/4 of the food crops we eat require pollination, and pollinators are dying. So we need to protect the pollinators, and SHA has a lot of space along the highways to do that. And so I thought it was a great idea. We just have to work out some things with the Senate, and hopefully that'll get passed next year. Another issue that I continue to work on is the issue of the proliferation of gas stations and what we're going to do with gas stations as we move towards this clean energy future as well. And so I had a couple of bills relating to that, unfortunately, that did not pass. One of them would have required new gas stations. And I personally don't think we should be building new gas stations at this point, but we continue to see them, like a new Royal Farms on Route 40 that just opened up last year. And so I don't think we should be building new gas stations at this point, but one of my bills would have required new gas stations to be set back a distance from existing gas stations, because from a community perspective, we don't need the cumulative impact, which affects the environment and the health, from multiple gas stations having emissions, right next to each other. That one unfortunately didn't pass, but it's an issue that I'm continuing to work on. And I'm actually working with the world's leading scientists who researches gas station emissions. And then the other bill that I had for gas stations would authorize counties to enact a property tax credit to give people a credit on their property tax who want to convert gas stations to other land uses, because it's expensive to do that because of the mitigation that's required. And so we want to encourage gas stations to be converted to some other land use. There's a lot of other things I won't get into too much. I'll mention a couple of things that were not my bills, but which were in my committee that I think are important to the community. One is Delegate Dana Stein had a green space equity bill, and we were talking about green space here a lot tonight. And that bill did pass, and it provides grants for community land trusts and local governments and nonprofits to help to provide green space in communities that don't have enough. The other bill that I'll mention that did not pass, but which is an issue that's important, has to do with street racing and exhibition driving. And we need to stop this. I don't know about you, but I can hear them late at night, the racing. We've had an incident several weeks ago at 230 Square Mall where this big group came from out of state doing like crazy exhibition driving, and there was even an accident. And people are gonna get killed, and we don't want that to happen. So we have to stop that. So we had a bill to give the police additional tools, including authorizing them to impound these vehicles. And a lot of people worked on this in my committee and in other committees. I think everybody agrees it's a problem. We just didn't quite get to the point where we had agreement on the best way to solve that problem. So we will continue to work on that as well. So with that, thank you so much for your time. I also wanted to mention Delegate McCaskill would have been here if she could, but she had another meeting.
Okay. All of that sound, I agree with Officer Glass, and all of that sounds amazing. That sounds amazing. So you're not just sitting there. You guys are doing stuff. Thank you. Thank you so much on behalf of all of us. Urban space, yes. So yeah, it looks like neighbor space. Yeah, there's work to be done there. There's stuff to be done. Yeah, the president says yes, we need environmental justice. We're paying more attention to green spaces, and I am, as a non-environmentalist working in the environmental field, I am loving it. This is making me use my brain for something other than the things I use it for. There is something that I would like to show everyone. So I have another guest, and I don't know if she wants to be put on the spot like this, but I don't think I mentioned before, because it was a work in progress, and it's been going, and it is a beautiful outcome. So I don't know if in the last week or couple weeks, month, you guys have checked out our webpage. If you've seen it before, it looked like we had rats and we had drugs and we had all kinds of stuff. Like, we just said, like, who wants to live in that neighborhood? And I never went to it because I just thought it was not pleasant at all to look at. And one of the things that, if I have accomplished nothing, which I didn't do this, but we have an updated, let me share, we have an updated, this is so embarrassing. I'll share screen, there it is. We have an updated web page, and it should ask me which screen any second now. Which screen? And I'm gonna say this one. I'm gonna share my screen with you guys. I think I got the right one. This is our new web page. And this is done by Miss Ranye McClendon. I said it off the top of my head. I think I got it right. So that's me. But we went in, we got some pictures. We're gonna put our useful info. We're gonna put some frequently asked questions in here. There's so many frequently asked questions that this is my street. I went out to walk the dog one day and just thought, this is amazing. And just kind of looked up, and whatever these trees are they've made our neighborhood so beautiful. So there's still a way to pay your dues here. We have our newsletters will be uploaded. We have, which for me is, we have a lot of realtors who don't believe that we are a legitimate association, and that you can't charge people, you can't make people pay. Here we have our originating documents where it shows everything that they need that they would normally ask us for. And here we have our people. She did an amazing job here. We have, the people who represent our neighborhood through the county. I don't think I left anybody off, but of course I left somebody off. But yeah, this is what we've been working on this for about 6 weeks, Ranye?
Yeah, we've been working on it for about, since February, early February.
Okay. And I am very proud of it. We are kind of displaying a new logo because the old one just didn't want to work. And we don't know where it came.
The logo was created by your president. I had nothing to do with the logo. That is all her.
Look at you. Look at you. I'll take that. But yeah, I am so proud of this. I mean, giddy. very giddy about this, gets information about the neighborhood, and now it says, don't you want to live here? Don't you want to live in Edmondson Heights? And it does, you don't open it up, and it has the rats and the no drugs, and it doesn't have any of that, which was just, I mean, to whoever did it before, they did what they could, and that's totally fine. But now we have something beautiful. Yeah. I consider a work of art. So I'm gonna stop sharing. So yes. Does anyone first, are there any questions? I'm gonna say about the web page. Are we going, oh, Twist, that is so much better than the one we had before? That is, I mean, because that's how I feel about it. Oh, yes, Miss Angela.
Yes, I'm going to say the web page is way better than the way it looked. And Rania, you did an absolutely fabulous job, and we appreciate your talents and your work. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. And
Thank you.
And Officer Glass, if we know anyone else who needs, in the association who needs their web pages updated, because they are all on the 410 website. And if anybody else, because I was a little jealous of Academy Heights, I will say, and I called, or I let them know, hey, we might be copying your website a little bit, but we didn't have to. We didn't have to. We did just fine on our own, and I think it's amazing. Can't wait to add more pictures and more events. And yeah, but yeah, Rania did, oh gosh, I'm gonna say a superb job. I'm very happy with it. And y'all go, oh Rania, that is so good. We have her at the bottom. If you scroll to the bottom, RM Tech Creations, that's who did this. So if anybody wants to get in touch, if somebody knows somebody or wants to know somebody, that's who we have going here. And I'm just gonna collectively, I'm gonna thank you for all of us. Yes, website looks great. Yes, it does. Yeah, absolutely giddy am I. I think what I wanted to come back to you guys about before, because I know it's the end, this is the end of our session for a couple of months, but I would like to know, since I'm okay, what you guys think about having a swap meet this summer. Don't everybody speak at once. Delegate Ruth.
Thank you. Actually, not about a swap meet, but I did want to ask, I think you said you're not meeting again until September, but
Yes.
will you be doing National Night Out?
We'll be doing National Night Out the first Tuesday in the month. Do you get our newsletters?
I
I
think
mean,
I
not
do.
lately.
Yes. I think I do. Yes. I
Okay.
should have checked that before I asked. Sorry.
Yeah, it would no, it's not out yet. Don't worry about that. It's not out. I just wanted to make sure. They are newsletters that go into print tomorrow. I had to change something, but because I got a date wrong, but they're going out tomorrow and they should be back this week because I know Ms. Brunzell wants to know. Anybody got any questions? Well, no, swap meet. Because it's a good idea. Want to know if anybody cares. Singleton, wait, Danielle Singleton. No. Melissa Singleton. Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
I just responded to the swap meet. So it sounds like a good idea. I just had an idea to swap plants. I don't know who would be interested in that. Like some people who may want to get rid of some of their plants and swap them with somebody else. Just the idea.
Okay. Because I keep them till I kill them. That's my motto. I will add it to the list. And I think, like, before school starts back or something, you know, but yeah, I'll add that to the list. Anybody else?
Yeah, my hands up.
There you go.
Jaquisa, Angela,
Yes, Angela.
swapping anything, and I love the idea about the plants, but love swap plants. Is it just swapping anything? Is it a criteria of what it is, or?
And this is off the top of my head. I didn't think so because the what do we have? The yard sale didn't go as well. So I thought, okay. But I also thought that if we just had a small space like the driveway of the school, and I thought clothing, one, because I have a lot of clothing, I just don't want to, I'm not throwing them away. And a donation drive. Yeah, I think whatever we don't swap, we can donate. I have no problem at all with that. That's a great idea. But I was thinking, Angela, it's just out there. I'm just putting it out there as a blanket. And if we can do something and KISS it, keep it simple and sweet. And then if it grows, it grows.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Okay. KISS. Anybody else? Officer Glass is here, but I'm gonna remind everybody that he and our Senator Sidnor have, it's in the newsletter, but I know you don't have the newsletter yet. We have the come on, the Jamboree. Can I call it Jamboree? No.
Gwinnett Food and Music Festival.
Gwinnett Food. You see all this stuff in my head? I'm technically still working right now. But yes, and that is coming June
25th. It's June 25th, Sunday from 11 to 7 at Gwinnett Park.
Okay. And I'm just go ahead and pull the information up because you're doing something else. So it's a free event. There is fantastic food, marvelous music, vendors of all kinds. If anyone would like to be a vendor, I have it in the newsletter. I promise you the newsletter is going out. I need to do all this stuff for nothing. It is in the newsletter, how you can become a vendor. I got my tickets from Eventbrite, I think to get a head count, which is a great idea. I didn't get to make it last year, which I probably just don't get to make the stuff anyway. But I would like for Edmondson Heights to set up a tent this year. To set up a tent, bring out chairs, listen to some music, and just kind of enjoy being a community. I know that there's an opportunity for the different communities to sponsor or set up tables to sell something. I don't have anything to sell. I got stuff to swap, but I don't have anything to sell. So if anybody is, like I said, if anybody wants to become a vendor, if you guys want to come out, we can carpool, we can do whatever, but I'd like to see Edmondson Heights show up. Don't leave me by myself, y'all. Don't leave me by myself. You don't know what happens when I get left by myself. All kinds of stuff. But that is what's coming up. And before we meet again, there is National Night Out, which will be August the 2nd, which I probably should have looked at the calendar again for that one, but I'm pretty sure it's the first Tuesday in August. Last year we gave out, I don't know if we did the light bulbs, but we might do those light bulbs that have the motion sensors. We did have motion sensor lights. We gave those away. I didn't bring one of those back home. That was for sure. Those were hit. The year before that, we gave out school supplies, which nobody showed up to come and get, but we donated them to the school. And I'm just gonna say sheer pettiness, I don't say what we're gonna give away. We want to give away something each year and thank everybody for coming out, something that'll be beneficial to the neighborhood as a whole. But I just want everybody to show up. This past year was nice. It was really nice. It was really it was really nice. And I'd like to see it, whatever we did last year to make it really nice. I'd like for it to be that way again. And sometimes all you have to do is walk across the street. That's it. And we just bring your chair, come and eat, come sit in the Sidnor comes out. Everybody comes out and just bless you guys. It's hard because I know you have to go to so many. You have to hop different events and I'm just gonna tell you, I worry about Senator Sidnor's health. When he's tired, it shows all over his face. So it is very much there. We should probably have beer so I can offer him a beer. But I would like to see everybody.
I don't drink.
I have one for you. I don't drink beer, but I do have a good cider that just does it for me. That's your problem. You don't drink. There you go. But yeah, I want to see everybody show up. And well, thank you, Officer Glass. I told you my boss's name is Glass, so and I'll call him Officer Glass. And yeah, so it's very confusing. I'm old. But yeah, I want to see everybody show up. If you can't, if you want to know what we got, I don't know, but I would like to just whatever, something that'll help make the neighborhood safer. If it's for the kids, it's for the kids. Bring the kids. My goodness, bring the kids. Because like I said, I got a giant Jenga game just sitting in my house. I don't have kids. And Thor doesn't want to play. He wants to play high.
Jaquista. Hi, this is Sharon. I wanted to say, could we invite the new president of the PTA to our future events or someone from her board to help her recruit new memberships? I think that would be a great idea. And if she has any fundraisers going on, ask her to bring that along with her, and we'll help to try to get her to make some money for the association.
Yes.
I think it would be a great idea if someone from our organization could be present at all of our events to get membership up and also for fundraising. I know they're selling candy, and we're going to do that Saturday.
Finest candy bars right now.
Yes.
I'm waiting for my box to show up.
Okay.
I'll sell them. But yes, last year, the liaison, the school and community liaison for both Johnny Cake and Edmondson Heights showed up. And now that there is PTA established, I think they're showing up. They're showing up on our social media. They're driving by my house. We had the dog tear the screen out, trying to get at the dog out there. But they are visible. They're visible in the neighborhood. And last year, they showed up to, I guess, dumpster day. So definitely, they are available. They're at hand. Anytime I can just walk my dog and walk into one of them. But definitely, does anybody, since we're closing out for the summer, anybody want to tell me what to do, what I didn't do, anything that when we come back, we would like to see? I do have somebody, the person who kind of cleaned up our median. I'm gonna meet with him again. I haven't seen, because I live on Barrett, so I don't have to go through the community to come and go. But if there's things like the medians, the triangles, the signs that we have, I have him come in to take care of that. We just needed to stop raining. Someone put a note on my door and said, you need to get this median cleaned up out here. I heard you. Okay. So that's gonna be happening. We're just looking to do more things to make the community beautiful and make people know that people live here. You know, we live here and we care about the neighborhood. I care about the neighborhood. So if people come in and they see that it's cared about, then they're probably just gonna think twice on just being non-caring. Some people who were raised, I guess. But for the people who weren't raised, there's nothing I can do about it. Does anybody have anything for me?
I do have one thing I wanted to say, and it's not for you to do, we all need to do it. The members of the community who have some knowledge about plants. The on Harwell looks great. What I have been told is that we need to identify what each of the shrubberies are, because they're supposed to be trimmed at different times during the year. Some of them should only be trimmed during the fall, and some are supposed to be trimmed at the beginning of spring. So that is something that hopefully we all can go out and take a look at and have them trimmed at the appropriate time so they can continue to thrive and we don't have as many perennials dying off. That's not something for you. That's just something for all of us. If you can identify what some of the shrubberies are in the triangle and also on the medium on Harwell, so we can have things done appropriately so we can hold on to the perennials that we do have in those areas.
Request
Really?
here. I do just want to, yeah, of course, plants. I do just want to type up that that is something we could potentially help with too. I don't know if you have a green team or if you're interested in establishing that, or if it's just loose volunteers, but we could also provide, help with that. I'll sometimes draw up maintenance manuals where you can kind of go look to see what Ms. Sharon's referring to, which plants need what care when, or provide trainings too. So
sounds good. I just know hostas, and I know it because
your Krista. Oh no!
I love saying the word.
Out, honey.
So I know what they are because I love saying the words. I used to hear on TV, not my hostas. So now I know what hostas are, and that's what I know. So I do have. There's a book. I didn't buy the book. I printed it out though. Of native plants. You may have been the one who told me about it. But there's a book of native plants in Maryland, and it's somewhere. But yes, we definitely what to do, and so that would be great.
And I'd be willing to meet with you, Phyllis. Jaquisa can give me some dates that you're available, and I know that I would make an effort to be available, and I'm sure Susie probably would try to be available also. She's a neighbor who lives adjacent to the park. She has a bit more plant knowledge than I have, but I think we both would be interested in doing the tour with you so we can identify and they're pretty mature, so we don't want to lose them. Identify, what should be done, when should we prune, when we shouldn't prune, that type of thing.
Sounds good. I think we can arrange that.
Okay. I'm looking at this in the. I see you, Bonnie. Thank you for that. I'm going to check this out. Melissa.
Sorry. Yes, I agree about identifying them. And I also wanted to make a suggestion, with the names on it so that going forward in the future, you would know what type of plants you had for the shrubs.
That'll work. You show up for me. I see you. I just want you to know I see you, and I thank you. I thank you. One day to go. It's a virtual learning. Do I have wrestling on that night? Let me see. Bonnie, I gotta check the 4th is on a Thursday. I do not have wrestling that night. So I think I am going to show up to the virtual learning lab. I'll share this. Oh, it's shared in the chat about a virtual learning lab. Yeah. This is very interesting. Anyway, check it out. It's helping to identify what we have. Faithful green leaders. I'm working on becoming a green leader with Mayo. So, okay. This works for me. Okay, I'm here. Yes. Anybody else?
Yeah. Do you have anything from the police department?
Do I have anything? No, usually I get things from you. Things have been pretty quiet. I did see, I have the report that comes out. I think I don't know if it's every day, but every week. But no, anybody have anything for the police department? Because I don't.
I do. I
Go
do,
for it.
Jaquista. I would like them to kind of drive through the community, particularly on Granville. We have a lot of autos parking in the wrong direction. Our street is like in an S curve pattern, and it can cause accidents. So if you're driving through, if you would put warning or tickets or whatever you need to put on the vehicles that are parked the wrong way, we would greatly appreciate it. And we also, Officer Ben Clark, I don't know if you're still here, but I left you a message about kids riding dirt bikes up our street. They normally start about 6:30, runs till like 7:30 or 8 at night. Sometimes there are three of them riding up together. If you guys could drive through during the evening hours to check on that, it would be greatly appreciated.
I did
Thank
get your
you.
I did get your message, Miss Sharon. I actually sent that to patrol because it is in the evening. I'm usually gone by 6, so they was made aware of that a couple weeks ago. So, if you should happen to know what house they reside in, you could
I don't
send
believe
me.
they live in the neighborhood.
Okay,
I've gotten a view of them. They look like older, like maybe I want to say young adults between 18 and 21. They don't, and I don't recognize any of the kids that's living in our community. I
okay,
think they like just the challenge of coming up, because I live on a hill. I'm
yeah,
just guessing. I'm not sure.
okay. Because I was saying that would be a better way for us to catch them. Because once they're riding the bikes, we aren't allowed
I
to
know.
or pursue them. So,
Okay.
but patrol is aware of it. Um,
Thank you.
Also, I wanted to remind your community about some food burglary attempts. This is a time of the year where a lot of times the 4th-degree burglaries happen, where people take lawn equipment out the yard or bikes and stuff when the weather begin to break. So if you make sure your gate is locked, if you have locks, or if you have equipment or things outside, make sure they're locked down. Make sure your windows and doors are always locked. If you see something suspicious at your neighbor's house, call in to 911, a suspicious subject, and just be on the lookout and make sure you lock all your property up, because crime is about opportunity. So we want to minimize the opportunity to become victims. The second thing that I wanted to say was on May 20th, Officer Glass is doing a civilian reaction to active shooter at the Liberty Road substation. I did put it in the chat. It's from 9 to 11. And the address is 9428 Liberty Road, but all that information is in the chat. So the community is welcome to come. And I did get the complaint. I'm not sure if the young lady is still on here for the trailer that I will definitely check out. I'm not quite in tomorrow, but I will check it out Thursday.
Okay. I think I sent the flyer for the active shooter training out. If I did, I'll check to see if I did. If I didn't, I'll go ahead and send that again. Yes. Yeah, I'm gonna put the little space that I do have. Crime is about opportunity in the newsletter. I needed that. I do already have as Officer Glass knows, I already have the food and music festival in there. Yeah, I'll be ready to send this out in the morning. Can we get rid of the football field? How do you get rid of a football field though? So I don't think that's gonna be doable. That doesn't belong to us. Anybody got anything else? Okay, so I would like to sign out by wishing everybody a lovely summer, a safe summer. Come to National Night Out. Check my emails, answer my emails, pay attention to my email. I got newsletters coming out. I got a new album dropping. No, sorry. This felt right. I want to thank Bonnie and Phyllis. Let's see, Senator is gone. We've got our delegate is gone. Thank you, Ranye. Thank you, Officer Glass. Thank you, Officer Benz Clark. I want to thank everybody. I know I'm missing somebody. I don't know. Thank you for having my back on here every week, Ms. Bronzella. I look forward to seeing you. Okay. Everybody have a safe summer, and I will see you the first Tuesday of September, whenever that is. I don't watch the calendar anymore after today. All right.
I don't blame you.
Bye.
Okay, have a good one.
You.
Good night, all.